The holidays are coming. That means we need to refine our freelance writer marketing machine right now. So Shaistha put this in and she asked that we go over this. So I think this is a great topic. Hey, Vicky. And we are going to go over it. So the things that we're going to talk about are basically helping you pre-plan a bunch of things, helping you understand how the end of the year and the beginning of next year works, and giving you kind of like an we got an ambulatory blanket creature. Where are you going? And figuring out what we should do now and how we can stop waiting for work. Can you go back to your hubble hole? Not already. We just started. We just started. Go back and lay down. All right. There we go. Be a blanket princess over here. All right. Why don't you lay down and be snuggly for a little bit? Yeah. Yeet. I like that. So let's go through number one. Hold on. Let me pop this up. Let me get my old lady brain working. Okay. Hey, Brianna, welcome. So number one, we are going to talk about how to do your marketing. So we're going to talk about how to do your marketing right now and then the holiday season. And the holiday season could be October to January. It's most of the time like Thanksgiving till like after New Year's, kind of in that time frame. So I think this is a really important thing to go over because a lot of freelance writers don't pre-plan enough. They're like, I have work for the next 2 weeks. Everything's great. No, no. You need to be thinking 3 to 6 months ahead. And that's why this is really important. That's why we're going over this. So number one, when you're doing your marketing, I always kind of give that recommendation of 50, hey Getty, welcome, 50 to 75 LOIs a month, or doing at least an hour every day of marketing. And those activities can be sending LOIs and pitches, following up, connecting with people on LinkedIn, and those people could be writers, potential clients. It could be anybody that you feel like might be a good fit for your niche. It could be, joining groups. It could be asking questions, leaving comments, posting stuff. It could be a whole bunch of things. So as we're kind of going through our marketing, I have my notes down here just so you know. As we're going through our marketing, we want to make sure that we're keeping up with that. So a lot of writers slow their marketing down because they're just have this idea that like nobody's going to answer. Everybody's off. They are not. They are not. I have had I've had friends who have gotten answers on like Christmas or Thanksgiving or New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. Like everybody answers all like whenever they want. I've had answers Christmas Eve. I've had answers on Black Friday. I don't remember. I think I got someone answering me on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, but I've had answers on like all the days where people are supposed to be off. And we all know that people spend time with their family and then they kind of scroll their inbox, right? There's like a pause or, they're just kind of bored or they're just like whatever. And they scroll their inbox and they reply. So do not slow down your marketing, okay? The whole point is that when you market now through Q4, that really helps you get some end of year projects and some beginning of next year projects. So even if you do your marketing and it turns out that they're like, hey, let's go back and talk in January. Yeah, you might not get money now, but it may be a big project that you end up getting in January to start your next year off really well. Like it's always this kind of thing where people are like, nobody will answer. It's like, that's okay. You can be in their inbox. Like you can still do the work. We want to make sure that we're taking time off, which we'll go over in a little bit, but don't slow down your marketing, okay? So keep up, no matter how much work you have, right? You need to do at least like an hour a day or 50 to 75 LOIs a month. And right now I'm doing a lot of marketing because things are shifting. So even me, who I was doing my marketing quarterly, I'm changing that because the market stuff in my niches is changing. So if you have a ton of work and you can't market every day for an hour, Monday through Friday, at least send 5 to 10 LOIs a month. Like you want to make sure that you're putting things out there so that you have work for the next year. This is how you also stop waiting for work, right? So that's why this is really important. We're planting the seeds now so that we can harvest them in November, December, January, and beyond. And we all know that you might send an LOI in November and they may not get back to you until July. But the point is that you planted the seed. That's the critical piece. So when we're doing our marketing right now and through the holiday season, we need to make sure that we have that time off, right? But that we're being consistent about continuing our marketing. If you don't have projects or you're not, your money is short for the next few months, then you need to make sure you're doing your marketing. And also, this is another reason why I'm doing more marketing, is because my niches are kind of shifting. So I want to make sure I'm kind of like doing more marketing to plant more seeds just in case, things go weirder. So I think that's a really important point. So that's number one. We want to make sure that we're doing our marketing now. We want to make sure that we're following up. We want to make sure we're making those connections, that we're joining groups, doing whatever we have to do. And then we also want to make sure that we don't just ignore the holiday season. Like, if you think about it this way, if you're ignoring November through January, or like, let's say Halloween until after New Year's, that's like 2.5 months, maybe even 3 months of the year, right? You're ignoring a quarter of the year. That's a big problem, right? People like forget that. They're like, oh, it's only the holidays, no one's answering. But it's like, now you've lost a quarter of the year of your marketing activities. That's a problem, right? You need to pay attention to that. There are lots of things that we can do to automate it, to send LOIs, to follow up, all that good stuff. But we need to make sure we're making that consistent effort, because this is how we have a good end of the year and how we start the next year off really good. So that's the first point. That was number one. Now we're going to do number two. Number two, if I can pop it up and be a regular person. And then also we have our little friends over here. She's just so sad. She's just like sitting over there being like, why won't you give me? Oh gosh, now she knows. Don't look at her. Don't look at her, because then she'll come up and make some noise. All right, our second thing, number two, is how to not keep waiting for work. This is how we do it. We have to do the marketing. We have to remember that we are pre-planning things. I think a lot of times what ends up happening is freelance writers make it so short. They make the runway so short, and they expect their clients to reach out to them, or when they send an LOI, for them to be like, yes, let's do this right now. They're used to a lot of red light clients who don't pre-plan. So they end up having this constant string of like, do it now, do it now, do it now, or hurry up and wait, right? Good green light clients are planning way ahead. They've already put things in motion, right? They're thinking by quarters. They're thinking about, like, right now, they're thinking about Q1, or how they're going to end the year well, or what things they need to put into planning for next year. So if you've been with a lot of red light clients who are basically like, immediately every time you contact them or every time you get an inbound lead, they're like, do it right now, that's the wrong pool, okay? Your green light clients are going to be the ones to pre-plan. So we're not waiting for work. We want to make sure that we are doing our marketing and planning 3 to 6 months ahead, but that we're also aligning with those clients who are planning 3 to 6 months ahead. And this is the difference, is like, sometimes you'll send an LOI and get a green light client who's like, oh my gosh, we have this end of the year project. We would love to work with you. Please help. And then you have immediate work and money, right? But then you have a lot of clients that are like, yeah, we're planning December, January. We want to talk to you like in November about that. And that's what you really want. That's how you end up extending your projects and getting clients who are on the right bus. Like, you're on the right path with them. It feels frustrating at first because you're like, I need the work and money right now, right? Like, a lot of writers I talk to are like, I need it now. That planning ahead is better for you, okay? Yeah, you need the work and money right now, which is why you're doing more marketing. But the other piece of that is that you want to begin to align and plant those seeds with those companies that are like, let's talk in November for work in January, because that feeds into itself over time. And now you have this beautifully planned schedule that's 3 to 6 months out, right? Or at least like at minimum 2 months out or 1 month out, instead of like 2 weeks or a week, right? So we want to start aligning with those right people. And you shouldn't be waiting for work. That was the interesting thing I thought about this question, is like, how to not keep waiting for work. You shouldn't be waiting for work. You should be doing the marketing. You should be putting things in place. You should be paying attention to what's going on in your niches, whether they're getting funding, or whether there's changes with the venture capitalists, or there's different trends, or there's new types of companies coming in. There is no waiting for work in the freelance world. It's always about sending your marketing, following up with people, getting new connections, joining groups, learning more about your niches, all that good stuff. So if you find that you're waiting for work, there's something off. Something is wrong, okay? You should always be thinking about, how can I plant more seeds? And I always think about, like, right, that there's that quote, it's by, isn't it Lewis Stevenson, that says, like, the seeds you plant today, like, you don't harvest in the same day or something. So you're not planting seeds to harvest now. You're planting seeds to harvest them later. And the way that I like to think about it is irons in the fire. So you never know when those irons in the fire are going to work out, but you're putting more and more and more and more of them in there. That's something, statistically, it has to work out, right? So if you send 100 LOIs between now and November, you send 100 LOIs, right? But between the next 2.5 months, right? The odds are that 0 of those would work out are very, very small, right? I used to tell myself this, and this is a little self-deprecating, but I used to tell myself, like, even a blind squirrel finds a nut. I used to tell myself that. I'd be like, I'm sending these LOIs. Somebody has to trip and fall into the hole of working with Mandy Ellis. Like, somebody's gotta figure it out. Somebody has to, like, oh, even a blind squirrel finds a nut. So you're sending all these LOIs, right? And the other thing is, like, make sure your LOIs are good. So that's really important. And I have a bundle for that. If you're interested, I'll pop it up. So if you were trying to figure out how to make good LOIs, go to mandyellis.com/bundle and you can get my LOI templates that I use right now in my business. But as you're kind of going along, somebody has to answer you, whether even it's a no, or we'll get back to you later, or like we'll put you on file, or somebody has to say something. So there is no waiting for work. You should not be waiting. And I think that comes from working with clients that are like, there's this extreme immediacy to their cycle of work. You don't want to be aligned with that. You want to be aligned with the people that are thinking ahead. And that comes from you marketing, learning how to connect with people in your niche, learning how to like figure out what's going on, what types of companies to go after, all that good stuff. So the holiday season, you may have less work or you may have a ton of work, but there is no waiting. So I know some people get really busy October through December because of their niche. Like their niche runs a lot of promos or sales, or they need a lot of help with brochure copy, or there's a lot of things that just happen in their niche that usually happen in the last quarter of the year. So they're filled with work. And some people, like everybody, kind of shuts it down. So it really depends on what niche you're in, but there's always work available. Like, don't forget that there is somebody out there who needs you to help them. Always, always, always. So do not wait for work. Do your marketing, make your connections, get out there. And remember that the seeds you plant now are the ones that will bloom next year, or that will bloom in November and give you work next year. That's really important. Let's talk about 3, people. Where's 3? Also, we're going to do a little creeper action. Okay. Everybody's sleeping. This is good because now I actually get to get through the material while they sleep. Okay. So the third thing, number 3 that we're talking about, is what to think about over the next 4 to 6 months. So we want to be proactive, right? We want to be proactive to end our 2022 and start our 2023 off really well. So what are the things that you can do in your business to be proactive? I've already mentioned a bunch, but there are niche specific things. And there are things that you know about your clients, or things that you know about working in your niches, that you should be active in. So when you're thinking about the next 4 to 6 months, you should be planning out your work schedule. Like, what does that look like? How many deadlines do you have over the next 4 to 6 months? How much money is coming in over the next 4 to 6 months? How long is your list of companies? Like, I always do this with my students, is like, you have to make a list. This is the easiest way to get your marketing done really quickly. Have an ongoing list that you add to. So if you only have 25 companies on your list, there's a problem there. You need to go surf around and find some lists, find some companies. The Inc. 5000 is out. Go look at the Inc. 5000 to grab companies off of there. Make sure you're getting the right revenue ranges. You need that 3 to 10 million for startups at least, and you need 5 to 50 million for regular companies. But you need to be starting to think about how you can add to things that make it easier for you to connect with more companies. So the other thing that's helpful is to connect with thought leaders on LinkedIn. And like thought leader, like, you use that at your own discretion. But there are people who constantly post about your niche and what's going on, whether it's companies getting funding, or companies doing layoffs, or companies doing this. Follow those people and you'll get more information. So just because a company is doing layoffs, like there's a lot of, like if you don't subscribe to Crunchbase Daily, you should. There's always good information in there. That's how I find a lot of clients. Crunchbase Daily is giving you information about, like, oh my gosh, like there's so many tech layoffs. Okay. The deal here is that that's actually an opportunity. When people get laid off, that work has to be done, right? So we still need to help them get that work done. There are lots of opportunities to help a company, because working with a freelancer is almost always 9 times out of 10 cheaper than working with someone full-time. So those layoffs, although unfortunate, right? And we, it's really shitty that people lose their job, right? However, for us, we have the opportunity to still help those companies create that content, get that work done, and it could be done right now when they're like trying to, figure it out. The other thing to think about is when we're thinking about the next 4 to 6 months, remember that now is when a lot of companies are setting their budget for next year. If you can send a proposal right now that gets approved for next year, you're in good shape. And most of the time you can get your upfront deposit before the end of the year. So then you get to end your year on a nice upfront deposit. So good companies are planning their budgets right now for next year. They're doing all that stuff. So, and whether that has to do with layoffs, right? They're laying people off and they're like, now our budget is this, or they're changing their business, or they're doing whatever. All of the things that you can do to be proactive are really important to pay attention to right now. And you need to think 4 to 6 months out. Like that's what I'm doing right now. Like I want at least 3 content strategy projects over the next 4 to 6 months. That means I need to be really particular about my marketing. I need to be paying attention to what kinds of responses I'm getting. Like, am I getting people interested in content strategy, or are they more doing content marketing efforts? I need to pay attention to who's getting funding in my niche and what types of stuff they've been creating. And there's a lot of stuff that we need to kind of know in the accordion effect of our business, right? And the accordion effect of our business is kind of like when we're gonna take on a bunch of work, when we're not, how we're gonna when we're gonna have a bunch of money, when we're not, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean feast and famine. It just means like things go up and down, right? So as we're going along, think about what you can do now to set yourself up for success for next year. Can you pre-plan your time off? And this is something that we'll talk about a little bit after this. So can you pre-plan your time off? That's what I do. Is I have this big dry erase calendar over there, and I go pre-plan my time off for the next year. So if I get an answer in November or December where someone's like, yeah, we would love to work with you starting in February, I'd be like, cool, sounds good. Also want to let you know I'm going to take this week off in February just as a heads up. So you keep people kind of up to date on like what you're doing and how that's like how your schedule is. You're also being proactive about giving yourself rest time because you could end up with a ton of work. But there's a lot of things that we want to just pay attention to. Write things down, okay? If you start noticing different things, write them down. If you start seeing that your marketing is paying off, write that down. Kind of pay attention to like, do I really need to send 50 to 75 LOIs, or am I now filled with work that I could send 20, over the next 2 months and still plant some seeds, right? All of that stuff is really important. Anything that you can think about in terms of being proactive with, let's see, like there's a lot of things that I do at the end of the year in terms of reviewing too. So if you're being proactive for the next year, you can end up doing your end of year review, and that tells you a lot of stuff you need to change in your business. So if you feel like October is a good time to do that, I usually do it in December. But if you feel like you're kind of like, ugh, I really want to make the last end of the year really good, do your business review. Look at the things that are really like how many clients really gave you 5 to 10K this year. Anybody who's not really in that bubble, that can be a problem. That can be someone that you may not want to continue working with because it's just like a lot of time spent, right? Because we all know that you have to learn a style, you have to learn how to do the work, you have to submit the work, it has to get published, and all of that time, if it's for very little money, the investment of time is a lot, right? So we want to look for clients that are kind of giving us a reasonable bubble, right, of work. And then your end of your review will also have you, like, you should be looking at your calendar. So look at your calendar. How many calls did you have? How many appointments with potential clients? If it wasn't a ton, that needs to go up. You need to look at how your income was, because I know for my business, there's like certain months that it's really quiet and certain months where it's really busy. So look at that in your business. Figure out the things that you want to improve in your business. Like, how do you want your 2023 to look? How much time do you want off? How many more fun projects do you want to do? How are you organizing your work? Are you trying to move more into complicated projects, like higher up projects like case studies or white papers or ebooks? Or do you want to do more blog posts? Are you trying to move into content strategy? All of these things, mapping that out will really help you be proactive for the end of the year and the upcoming part of 2023. That's really important. So we kind of need to review the last, what is it, October, like 9 months of our business, right? Because like if you're doing it in October, you have September through January. So 9, 10 months of your business. Look through all that stuff. Find the trends, find the things that are breaking, find the things that could be optimized, right? And a lot of times that ends up being like systems and processes where freelance writers take forever to onboard their clients. They don't use a tool like Dubsado to help them do it. They have like 85 lists in 85 places instead of putting them in one place. They don't have a good streamlined system for marketing. They're not using like LinkedIn to its full potential. Go look at all your stuff. Where are your pitfalls, right? And even if you wanted to do a SWOT analysis, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? Even if you wanted to do that, like make sure that you're kind of looking at all the different things that happen as you go along. Okay, that's really important. And make sure you really don't be like, oh, I'm doing great, when it's really not great. Like you need to be honest with yourself. Okay, there's times where people like it hurts. Like I have done this where it hurts to be honest. It hurts to look at it and be like, ooh, I really screwed up on marketing. I definitely should have done more of that. Or it hurts to be like, oh, I made a mistake doing this and this and this. Yeah, it hurts. But if you're not honest with yourself, your business isn't going to grow. You're building it on like a foundation of cotton candy. Okay, don't do that. Brianna says, I'm so bad at planning vacation as a freelancer. I always end up working during my time off because I didn't plan ahead. How far in advance do you let your clients know that you'll be unavailable? Brianna, excellent question. Let's move to 4, because 4 is where we're talking about vacation. So hold on. Let me go put that back. 1 second. Hello, Tiny Titan. Hello. All right. So here's the thing. I let them know as close as possible. So like I said, if I got a client in November and they said, we want to do work in February, I would let them know immediately, like, hey, I know you want to do work in February. I want to let you know ahead of time. I'm going to be off in February. As early as possible as you can let them know if it's over the course of you working is the best. Sometimes even I make mistakes and I'm like, I thought I told them that I would be out and I forgot. But this is why I have, hi Goob. This is why I have the dry erase calendar and my Apple calendar. My Apple calendar runs my week to week. So Brianna, this was my problem. I used to work on my time off because what I would do is I would just move the time off. I'd be like, oh, I have a deadline. I can't take the time off. I need to continue working, right? And that just doesn't work. You end up burning out. So when you're looking at your stuff, you need to treat that as real time off, as like nothing is going to happen during that time, okay? And this is something that really helped me. 5 business days does not matter, okay? If you take a week off, like it doesn't matter. It's 5 business days out of the whole year, okay? Or however many business days you take off, right? If you take a week off, it's 5 business days. Nobody cares. It's so short. So treat that time as like you need that time off, and in the scope of a year, it's a really small amount of time. So don't worry about it in terms of work or marketing or whatever. So I let my clients know like as soon as possible. And sometimes if we're like doing a bunch of deadlines or stuff, like I let them know ahead of time. So if I start a contract and it's for 4 blog posts a month and I know I'm going to be off at some point, I'm like, hey, I'm going to be off these 2 weeks or this time. Can we front load this month so that, we get all the work done, but it's all handled. So basically you're just letting them know as soon as possible, and it's non-negotiable too. You're not telling your clients like, let me know if you really need me to answer emails or do this stuff. Like, no, it's non-negotiable. This is the time off. I'm letting you know ahead of time. Let's see if we can get the work done early so that we don't get behind. I see you, Grumpy. I see you. Do you want to be up here? No, not today. So yeah, Brianna, you have to treat your time off as like a real thing. And you have to remember, even if you're going to take 2 weeks off. So this was something that I did when I took a month off. Like I told people I would be out. I would be coming back on January 18th or whatever it was. And I was like, oh man, like everyone's going to come back to work. I hear you, Woo. Everyone's going to come back to work after New Year's Eve and everyone's going to be raring to go. And I'm going to be so behind because I still have 2 weeks off. And nothing happened. Nothing happened because everyone comes back to work and they're tired, or, it's slow going or whatever. So like, even if you took 2 weeks off, that's 10 business days. Like the world isn't going to change. Okay. It's not a big deal. But This is why I have the two systems. This is why I have the dry erase calendar and I have my Apple calendar. My dry erase calendar lets me start in January, and I do this every year. Well, this year I need to fix that one, but every year I plan it off in my calendar. So if it's on my dry erase, I say these are the times I'm taking off, and I put it in my Apple calendar so I know it's already blocked off. And it's blocked off on my appointment calendar so no one can book any calls or anything during that time off. It's done in January. So all of the time now that it's September that I've had off this year has been pre-booked in January, okay? And then as I'm going along, I look at my schedule. So if a client says, here's what we're doing, look at your calendar, right? Like don't get caught up in the immediacy of like, I have to tell them right now or else, or like, oh my gosh, I have to give them an immediate answer on the call. No, you have to think about it. You're like, let me look at my calendar. Let me see my deadline schedule. That also means looking at your time off. Like how much time ahead, like let's say you work with a company for 2 months and then your vacation's on month 3, you probably don't need to tell them because, you never know if they'll renew the contract or not. But, oh, hold on, Barry. There you go, buddy. But you need to at least have that planned out. So you need to treat it as real serious time off. You need to remember that a couple of business days isn't a big deal. Plan it out in 2 places if you need to, like plan it out big picture on a dry erase calendar. It was like $15 on Amazon. And then put it in your like weekly calendar, and then let your clients know like as soon as possible what the deal is. Okay. So the time off thing is really important. And this is why I recommend people like writers put their time off in their calendar at the beginning of the year. Because if it's in your thing at the beginning of the year, it's really a lot more difficult to feel the pressure of a client saying like, answer some emails or do some work. It's already been pre-planned in advance. You're already kind of looking forward to it. You've scheduled other things around it. There's so many other things that kind of happen that one client asking for something, you're like, no, I have time off. Like I let you know. And it's a lot harder to break into that once you've already done it so far in advance. So I think if you do it way in advance, like January, plan it all out for the year, I think that really helps a bunch. So time off. When we're doing our time off, plan that out, right? So hold on. Yes, hello? Go back to your hovel hole. You sass. Go back to your hovel hole. There we go. You lost your blanket. Now you can't be a blanket Sherpa. All right, ready? There you go. All right. For you, good job. Charlotte, maybe someday we'll be able to show them our new tricks. Good job. Other one. Other one. Other one. Good job. Why do you look so fuzzy today? Bear, you look great. Your eye's leaking a little bit, but you're doing your best. High five. Good job. Other one. Good girl. Good job. Oh my goodness. Look at those jowls. Nope, you go back to your hovel hole. Because all you want to do is stand on my feet and tell me that you should get more. Go back to your hovel hole. Go back to your hovel hole. Go back to your hovel hole. Hovel hole. All right, go hang out in your hovel hole. Good girl. You guys, like, every time we do this, you guys just love to not sit on the thing. There you go. Okay, high five. No, you can't eat the big one. Good girl. Good job. All right. Brianna says, thank you. I'll be getting a whiteboard. Yeah, so it's just, I'll put the link down there. I'll go find the link and I'll go put it in the description of the thing I have. But it's just like this. It was like $15. It's like this little thin, like, this little like dry erase calendar so that you just erase it every year and start over. But it really helps you plan it out. And remember, like, your time off is really important to you being creative and being able to write good copy and not burn out. So when you're planning your time off, so ideally for holiday time, November, December, January, you should have already planned this out. Ideally, you should already know how much time you're taking for however many holidays you celebrate or how much time off you want, right? If you haven't, do it now. So Brianna, if you haven't, do it now. Plan your holiday time off now. Don't wait till the last second, because there are always people at the last second that are like, will you do this work? And you're like, oh my God, I'm so tired right now. I need the time off. So do it now. Book your time off for November, December, January, or however many holidays you're celebrating over the next few months. Book it off now. And then when you get pressured, right? Because there's always clients that will pressure you being like, I need it now. Like, you can either decide that you really want to break into your time off, which is not good, but if you did, you can do that, but it's already pre-planned off. The other thing to remember, go back to your hubble hole. You're a sass bean. You're a sass bean. You're a sass bean. The last thing, the other thing to remember is that, did I already give you that? Your client's problems are not your problems. So if your client comes to you and they're like, I need it now, and you already have time off scheduled, that's like, you're doing your best and you need time off. So if you've already told them ahead of time, if you've already pre-planned your time off, like, stick to that. That's part of integrity of running your business. So don't make, even especially new clients who like you don't know yet and don't have a relationship with, if they're coming to you and like asking you to fix their own bad planning problems, that's not a new thing. That will continue on. That's not a holiday thing. So, oh, did you find it? Cool. Yeah, this is it. So I'll put it in the description, but if you go to this random link, if you want to, like, I don't know, I don't think you can copy it from the tag, but here it is. I'll put it in the description below, but that's the calendar I use. It's like you just post it on your wall, get some dry erase markers. But yeah, don't make your clients' problems your problems. And the last thing I'm going to say is that if you do want to make extra money over the holidays and you do want to kind of get some work done, yes, you could say yes to some quick stuff and some projects that you wouldn't normally say yes to. But that is with the caveat that you have time off, that you've already pre-planned, that you've already been planting your seeds with marketing, that you've already done your irons in the fire, that you've already, okay? This is like, you just kind of want to do a fun project. You might want a little extra money. You might want to do a few things, but it's not this ultra pressurized, like you have to do it now or else, okay? That's really important. Your time off, like your time off is really important to you keeping going. As someone who has burned out a couple times, I can tell you it's really important to pre-plan this stuff. Take the time off. Don't let your clients' problems become your problems, and really think about things ahead of time. Like, the way you get a stronger business is that you're thinking further ahead, and it makes it so that you don't make poor decisions in the present. You actually have things planned out. So it's like, yeah, I already have this, like I could do that, or I could do that. It gives you more freedom to kind of think about how you want your schedule and how you want things to go. Yes, hello? Would you like to say hello to the people? You want to come up here? She's like, don't pick me up. Here. Come here, Squeaky. Come here, Squeaky. Oh, Squeaky. All right. Well, you have to go back to your hubble hole. Go back to your hubble hole. Beep. Good job, Barry. Yes. All right, Charlie. Show everybody your skills. Good girl. Good girl. Good job. Good girl. Oh my gosh. Why are you so fluffy today? Good job, guys. Good job. Oh, oh, Charlotte, you really drooled on me. Oh my goodness. Charlotte definitely recommends getting as many holiday treats as you can. Make sure you get all the Treatos that you can fit, that you can get. All right, so here's what I want to leave everybody with. Those were kind of my main points. But the deal is pre-plan, okay? You are thinking 3 to 6 months ahead. You need to do marketing now. People answer emails every day of the year, all the time. Don't forget that. Taking a few days off, 5 business days, go away, little notification. Taking 5 business days off or 10 business days off, it does not matter in the course of the year. Notify your clients as early as you can about your time off. And if you need extra time off or you need something over the holidays, like, don't make your clients' problems your problems. Notify your clients that you're going to take this time off. And if you need extra time, just tell them like, hey, it turns out I'm going to take this time off too. Let's figure out how we can get this work done ahead of time or change our schedule a little bit. So your good clients should be able to work with you. And you want to make sure you're remembering that you're planting the seeds now for end of the year and for January, for the beginning of next year. So irons in the fire, planting the seeds. I think those are kind of the main points. So even if you get busy with work, remember to plant those seeds, because they usually come out in like January, February of next year. So even if you're busy, send 5 or 10 LOIs, just get it done. Add to your client, like add to your potential client list that you're going to use for marketing. Make sure you cut it down by revenue. There are lots of lists that come out at the end of the year for you to look for clients in your niche. So look for all those lists. There are end of the year conferences that you can use to go find lists of conference attendees or people who sponsored the conference, and you could send LOIs to them. So look for that stuff. All right. Yes, Sassbean. If you feel like this was helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you feel like you want to learn more about building a high earning freelance writing business or building a freelance writing business you adore, subscribe. Yes, Sassbean. What is going on? We're going to do one Sassbean update, and then we're going to hop off because you're being a Sassbean. I would pick you up, but you're being wild. Can you go back to your hover hole? No, you have to go back to your hover hole. You know how this works, Charlotte. We've been here long enough. All right, good job, Barry. I know, Barry. Your vision's not great today. It's okay. We're close enough. Whoop. All right, how many can we do before you try to... Oh, it's only 4. 5. Okay, well, we got to 5. That was pretty good. Here you go, buddy. Good job. All right, ready? That's another one. Why are you looking at Bear? Are you looking for bits? Oh, my gosh. You wild bean. Wild bean. All right, so I hope that this was helpful. I hope that we went over all the stuff that you've been thinking about for end of year marketing, stuff to think about in terms of analyzing your business, having time off, planning ahead, getting all your stuff together. I know this sounds crazy, but the physical calendar plus your day-to-day digital calendar, I feel like that works so well because when I look at my iCal or my Apple Calendar or whatever it's called now, when I look at it, that helps me day by day, week by week, and it's really easy to get caught up in deadlines and client responsibilities and calls and all that other stuff. When I have the physical dry erase calendar, which is over there, that helps me stay on track with like, oh yeah, it's March. I'm taking time off in a couple weeks. Oh, I need to remember that. That helps me plan further ahead, right? And I also have the calendar up in my little office headquarters area where I look at it all the time. Raquel says, hi Raquel, welcome. Raquel says, such great advice. I definitely need to start actually putting vacation dates in my calendar rather than just waiting until I'm free to rest. Yes, don't do that. Don't do that. Raquel, remind yourself that you're working hard, okay? You're working hard and you deserve time off, okay? Or even if you're like kind of feeling lackluster about it, right? You can still take time off. And yes, you need to put it in your calendar because if you don't, you will do what I did, which is where you're just like, I'll just move it a week. And then it just gets erased. Like you just stop moving after 2 months, you stop moving that vacation, off your calendar. So yeah, put it in the calendar, treat it as like a true sacred time that other people are not allowed to impede upon. That's really important. All right, I'm glad that this was helpful. I'm glad that we went through all this stuff now because now is the time to implement it and do it. I will put the link to my dry erase calendar below, even though we had it up here, which I'm pretty sure you can't click. But I'll put it in the description so everybody can see it. And good luck with all the marketing. Do it now. Plant the seeds. Get the connections. Plan your time off. Put it all into place. Okay? All right. I hope everybody has a good Friday. I hope this was helpful. And I'll see you next Friday. Bye.